And it's really my privilege to be a part of this venture to reduce maternal mortality. And I think that this discussion would be incomplete if we do not talk about eclampsia. Correct? So, pulmonary edema, abruptio placentae, maternal and fetal death. Any pregnant woman who presents with convulsion in later half of pregnancy, she should be treated as eclampsia until proved otherwise. This is the dictum that we obstetricians always follow. Now the management of eclampsia basically involves, I think I'm not saying anything new, everybody knows about it. It basically involves immediate management and the management subsequently. Now this eclampsia drill is all about the immediate management. The drill is whenever a woman who presents with convulsion, how fast and with what skills we need to manage her is going to test our skills. So that is what is the drill. Now one should always remember that first few minutes following a fit is very important, it's very crucial, and this should be handled very fast due to the risk of febrile hypoxia and aspiration, which can have very serious consequences. Now it has been found that if a woman convulses, status eclampticus, if she convulses for 4 minutes, that can lead to cerebral death, coma and her death subsequently. So these 4 minutes are very important. Now the women that we get, what happens is either she is being referred or she comes from home. So if this part, in whatever stage she comes to us, if is not managed, then can lead to further damage to her cerebral function. Now the immediate management, as I said, the principles, you need to be very speed. The one who is managing such a woman has to be very fast. Skills are required and priorities. Priorities, we mean that she should be given the full priority. No other work, no paperwork. We need to stabilize the woman first and then to think other things. Then what constitutes the immediate management? We all know stabilization of the women, which involves you need to take the help of your team. So call for help, and the presence of anesthetist is very important, as I think it's been discussed by so many talks. Remember the ABC of resuscitation, convulsion controlling, and the control of blood pressure is the three most important thing that should be followed in managing such patients. Now coming to initial resuscitation. So first is the airway. The woman should be placed on her left lateral side to reduce the risk of aspiration of secretions, vomitus and blood. Now put an airway in between the tongue. I have a video, I'll be showing that also. In between the tongue and palate to prevent tongue bite and the falling of the tongue. Suction of the secretions is done through this airway by connecting it to a suction machine. Now you give oxygen if available 15 liters per minute and continue longer if there is persistence of cyanosis. Now the most important thing is stay with the patient to ensure that her airway is clear. So she should not be left alone. Second is breathing. Assess her breathing like counting her respiratory rate. Look, listen, feel and ventilate if necessary. The circulation, take the pulse, blood pressure and CPR if necessary. Secure IV access with a 16-gauge cannula. The blood should be sent for blood group, CBC, platelets. A clotting screen is done, KFT, LFT, uric acid and serum electrolytes. The woman should be catheterized first to empty her bladder, to note the output and subsequently monitoring her urine output. Urine examination is done to see for proteins to confirm your diagnosis. Now the second is, once the woman is stabilized, you need to prevent the occurrence of further fits. So as we know that magnesium sulfate is the drug of choice, but remember that magnesium sulfate is not to arrest convulsion, it is to prevent convulsion. Now we have two regimes, the pre-charge and the juice band. Juice band we probably are not following it, but pre-charge is very commonly is done by everybody. So I will be describing both the method, the pre-charge and the juice band. In the pre-chart, we have a loading dose and a maintenance dose. So loading dose of 14 grams magnesium sulfate is prepared. 4 grams IV, making it 20% solution, and it should be given over 5 to 10 minutes, plus 10 grams IM injections, 5 grams 50% solution, deep IM in each butter. Now the maintenance is, as we say, 5 grams IM every 4 hourly in alternate butter till 24 hours after its last seizure or delivery, whichever is later. Then coming to juice pans, the loading dose we give a loading dose of 4 gram IV by 20%, and over 5 to 10 minutes is given, and then 1 to 2 gram per hour is given by a controlled infusion pump for 24 hours after the last seizure. Now coming to the pre-chart method, how this Maxilf is prepared and administered. I was going through different papers where this eclampsia drill is nowadays going on, like we have a PPH drill, and there they saw that the most errors that the people who come is the preparation of the magnesium sulfate. So it's very important because this is the most and the crucial thing that should be done to prevent her conversion. So how it is this prepared? Now this magnesium sulfate is available in 25% and 50% strength, as you all know. As I say, the 14 grams, 4 gram IV and 10 grams IR. Now coming to the 4 grams. Now IV 4 grams can be prepared either from the 25% ampules or from the 50% ampules. Now if we take 25% ampules, each ampule is 2 ml, and that contains around 0.5 grams of magnesium sulfate. Now to make it 20%, you take 8 ampules, that is 16 ml, and then dilute with 4 ml saline, and to make it 20 ml. Now this 20 ml will be equivalent to 20% magnesium sulfate containing 4 grams of magnesium sulfate. Now if we prepare it with 50%, suppose 25% ampules is not available, then it should be half of the 25%, that is we take 4 ampules, that is 8 ml, and you dilute with 12 ml of normal saline to make it 20 cc. So that makes around 20% of magnesium sulfate, 4 grams, which should be given very slow IV in 5 to 10 minutes. Now during when you are giving this IV infusion, IV loading dose, one has to look for the appearance of any facial flushing, any redness at the area of injection, and diplopia, slurring, bending. So these are all these are the side effects of magnesium toxicity. So one should be very careful while giving this IV also. And the respiratory rate, as I said. Now coming to 10 grams IM, this is prepared from 50% ampules, 2 ml as I said. So we take 5 ampoules, that is 10 ml. This should be undiluted, no need of adding a normal saline. And this is given 5 grams deep IM, that's 10 ml in each butter. Now because the woman is unconscious, so she would not feel for the pain and all. But in case when we are giving prophylactically, it's very important that you infiltrate it with xylocaine, because these are very painful IM injections. Then suppose the conversion recurs. You have given the loading dose and even then the woman convulses. Then an extra 2 grams IV 20% solution is given again 5 to 10 minutes and continue the maintenance dose as prescribed. Now how do you monitor? We have all been reading since our ages that the respiratory rate, the presence of reflexes and output, because magnesium, it competes with the intracellular calcium. So simultaneously the therapeutic level, as I said, is 4 to 7 milliequivalents. If it is more than that, say 10, it will cause the loss of reflexes, and if it is 12, it will cause respiratory arrest and death subsequently. So the respiratory rate should be a normal one, it should be more than 14 per minute, but less than 20. She should not be tachypneic, there should not be any, the rate should not be fast. So it should be between 14 to 20. And there should be a presence of peripheral jerks like knee jerk, and the output should be more than 25 ml per 1 hour or 100 ml in 4 hours. Output is important for excretion of the magnesium, because if there is oliguria, that will cause toxicity. Now, it has been observed that a number of times the woman when presents to us, she has a very decreased output. So that initial output should not be considered as that say contraindication for giving magnesium sulfate. You give it, but simultaneously maintenance fluid should be run so that subsequent output can be measured. Now the repeat doses of magnesium sulfate, it should be withheld or it should be delayed if the respiratory rate is less than 14 per minute. Gradually you have seen that there is respiratory depression. So you omit the next dose and the reflexes are absent, or the output is coming less than 104 hours. So these are the cases where you have to delay like we are repeating it 4 hours. So you can extend for 2 hours more. So that way you can give the maintenance dose. Now suppose she has lambda dependent respiratory arrest. So the antidote is calcium gluconate should be ready. 1 gram, that is the dictum is 10 ml, 10% in 10 minutes IV. So it's a rule of 10, one should remember. So that should be given instantly, and assisted ventilation is required. No further doses of magnesium should be given if such is the case. Caution. Now, women who have got impaired renal function, a woman who has kidney disease or something like that, their magnesium sulfate should be given with caution. And the patients also have history of any heart block or MI, including a history of any cardiac ischemia. These are the women where this should not be given in. Also women who has got myasthenia gravis, though we don't have such cases, but it is contraindicated in those patients. Then after the magnesium sulfate, we have to keep an eye on the blood pressure. In 20% of the cases, in 80% of the women who presents with eclampsia, you must have observed that the blood pressure settles down. There is no requirement of any antihypertensive. But in 20% of the women who have got malignant hypertension, now they present you with a very high BP record even though they have convulsed. Now the drug of choice in these cases is labetalol, and if it is not, then we can give a nifedipine. Now the basic aim is to keep the diastolic blood pressure between 90 to 100 mmHg. Now this is the flow chart which shows how labetalol can be given. There are two regimes. We usually follow the second one where we give 10 mg IV slow, and then after 10 minutes, wait for 10 minutes and see for the response. If the diastolic has not come down to 100, then you can double up the dose to 20 mg. Again wait for 10 minutes and subsequently you go for 40, 40, 80 and a maximum of 220 IV can be given. I have a series of eclampsia we have studied, and we have gone up to 120 mg, not more than that. By 120 the response comes. And the other is you can give 20 mg IV to start with, very slow IV for 2 minutes, and then doubling of the doses to 40, 80 and 120 and 220. So as I said, the target is to keep the diastolic between 90 to 100. The second is nifedipine. Now nifedipine is, you have to give 10 mg tablets, but the problem is these women are unconscious. So they can't take it orally. So what we can do is put in a rice tube and then dilute it, mix it with saline, and you can push it over the rice tube. Maximum dose of 200 mg can be given. Then coming to subsequent management, now once this drill is over, the woman is stabilized and there is no more fits, then we have to, then only you go for a PV examination. Other surgical examination should be done to see for the fetal heart and all those things, because this PPH drill, this will take around say about 10 to 15 minutes. So 10 to 15 minutes should be given to a woman to stabilize her. And then the dictum is to go for a termination of pregnancy if it is eclampsia. Other cares like the position of the woman should be changed early to avoid any pneumothorax changes because of the aspiration and all. Mouth care, output monitoring. Observe her for any recurrence of another fit. Color is observed for cyanosis, which indicates the need for oxygen. Temperature for hourly, pulse and respiration is recorded hourly, and the blood pressure and uterine contraction, fetal heart, and the output subsequently. Now this is algorithm that do not leave the patient alone. The 3 ABCs: maintain, assist, maintain patency, give oxygen, again assist, protect airway, ventilate if required, evaluate pulse and BP, secure IV access, observe the patient, send the investigations. Then control of convulsions with the loading, maintenance and monitoring, and control of hypertension, and finally after stabilization go for a delivery. So, eclampsia, the need for a good clinical skills. Why a drill is important? There is a need for good clinical skills to be able to recognize and act promptly, be in control of the situation. We need to take care of the family who will be extremely distressed to see the woman have a fit. Need for gentleness so as not to harm the woman if she is unconscious or stimulate another fits. It's a need to respect the woman's dignity at all times and need for a strict attention. Thank you. Yes.
Using the 1 gram per hour.
Okay, IV
that is another use.
Recording we are using since 93, which was not 93, it was 86. 86, yes, 86.
It actually,
when I was Madam
the infusion
no.
you need to.
In fact, I started all the day, and for all the 3 units, I used to manage eclampsia.
Yeah.
Maximum patients we were managing. Yes. I managed for 3 years. Actually, 18 काम करेंगे हमारे people I'm sure. Okay.
दौरे आना, उच्च रक्तचाप और यूरिन में प्रोटीन का होना। उच्च रक्तचाप में सिस्टोलिक 140 से ऊपर और डायस्टोलिक बीपी 90 से ज्यादा होता है और प्रोटीन यूरिया का स्तर 2 या उससे ज्यादा होता है।
अगर कोई एक्लेम्सिया का मरीज आपके पास दौरे की अवस्था में आए तो सबसे पहला कार्य है यह सुनिश्चित करना कि मरीज की सांस की नली खुली हो और मरीज सांस ले रहा हो। ये करने के लिए आप सबसे पहले मरीज को बाएं हाथ की करवट में लिटाएंगे। इसके लिए आपको मरीज के रिश्तेदार या फिर अस्पताल के कर्मचारियों की मदद लेनी पड़ सकती है। बाएं हाथ की करवट में करने के तुरंत बाद आपको मरीज के गालों के बीच में 2 उंगलियां दबाकर उसका मुंह खोलने की चेष्टा करनी है। मुंह खोलने के पश्चात आप यह चीज जिसे हम एयरवे कहते हैं, इसे मरीज के होठों के बीच में डालेंगे। इस प्रकार से होठों के बीच से ले जाते हुए मरीज के दांतों के बीच में, उसके बाद इसे इस प्रकार घुमाकर आप सीधा करेंगे जिससे ये इसी अवस्था में मरीज के मुंह के अंदर जाए और मरीज के तालू को और जीभ को चोट न पहुंचे। इसी अवस्था में फिर आपको ये एयरवे मरीज के मुंह में पूरी तरह से डाल देना है। अगर आपके पास एयरवे उपलब्ध ना हो तो आप चम्मच या सिरिंज जैसी कोई भी वस्तु मरीज के मुंह के अंदर डाल सकते हैं जिससे कि मरीज की जीभ उसके दांतों के बीच में आकर ना कटे। यह एयरवे मरीज के मुंह के अंदर डालने के बाद आपको उसके मुंह से जो भी सिक्रीशंस या थूक इकट्ठा हुए हैं उसे सक्शन करना है। इसके लिए एक सक्शन मशीन की जरूरत होगी हमें और एक सक्शन कैथेटर या फिर ट्यूबिंग की, जिसे आप मशीन में इस तरह से फिक्स करेंगे और उसके बाद यह सक्शन कैथेटर आप एयरवे में बने हुए इस छेद के द्वारा मरीज के मुंह में डालेंगे। सक्शन करते वक्त एक चीज का ध्यान रखें कि सक्शन कैथेटर अंदर डालते समय यह छिद्र जो कि ट्यूब पे उपलब्ध है ये खुला रहे और बाहर निकलते टाइम इस छिद्र पे अपनी उंगली से इसे ऐसे बंद कर दें जिससे सक्शन उत्पन्न हो और फिर आप इस तरह ये छिद्र बंद करके सक्शन करते हुए ये कैथेटर मरीज के मुंह से निकालें। अगर आपके पास इस तरह का सक्शन कैथेटर ना उपलब्ध हो तो आप सिंपल सक्शन कैथेटर यूज कर सकते हैं, पर सिर्फ एक बात का ध्यान रखें कि मरीज के मुंह के अंदर सक्शन ट्यूब डालते समय सक्शन बंद हो और निकालते टाइम सक्शन उत्पन्न हो। इसके पश्चात मरीज के मुंह के आसपास लगे हुए सिक्रीशंस को आप अच्छे से साफ करते हैं।
एक्लेम्सिया का प्रमुख उपचार है मैग्नीशियम सल्फेट का इंजेक्शन। आपकी किट में ये 50% के सॉल्यूशन में उपलब्ध है। एक 22 गेज की नीडल और 10 सीसी की सिरिंज भी आपकी किट में है। इंजेक्शन देने की प्रक्रिया ये है। 10 मिलीलीटर मैग्नीशियम सल्फेट को सिरिंज में भरें। इंजेक्शन को एक बटक में गहराई में इंट्रामस्कुलर लगाएं। ये सुनिश्चित करना बहुत जरूरी है कि इंजेक्शन गहराई में लगा हो, वरना इंजेक्शन लगाने वाली जगह पर फफोला बन सकता है। दूसरी सिरिंज में 10 मिलीलीटर मैग्नीशियम सल्फेट और भरें और इसे दूसरे बटक पर लगाएं। एक्लेम्सिया से पीड़ित महिला की देखभाल में इन बातों का ध्यान रखना बहुत जरूरी है।
देखिए, आपको एक चीज का ध्यान रखना है कि मरीज को किसी भी वक्त अकेले ना छोड़ें और साथ ही कि मरीज कभी गिरे ना और उसे चोट ना लगे।
आईवी शुरू करें और लगभग 30 बूंदें प्रति मिनट की दर से रिंगल लेक्टेट दें। रेफरल सेट में मैक्सेट इंजेक्शन लगने का सही समय और आपके द्वारा किए गए उपचार का पूरा ब्यौरा दें। ये सुनिश्चित करें कि मैग्नीशियम सल्फेट की पहली खुराक मिलने के 2 घंटे के अंदर महिला एफआरयू पहुंच जाए। एफआरयू पहुंचने के बाद महिला का रक्तचाप, उसकी पल्स, सांस की दर की जांच की जाती है और महिला की यूरिन आउटपुट को जानने के लिए उसे कैथेटराइज किया जाता है।
आपके मरीज का बीपी ना बढ़ा हुआ है और उसको दौरे भी पड़ रहे हैं।
मरीज के परिवार वालों को उसकी हालत के बारे में बताकर उनकी सहमति लेकर मरीज का प्रसव करवाने का निर्णय लिया जाता है। मैक्सेल का अगला इंजेक्शन इंट्रामस्कुलर दिया जाता है। उच्च रक्तचाप के लक्षणों को पहचानना बहुत जरूरी है। डायस्टोलिक बीपी का यहाँ ज्यादा महत्व है। अगर ये 90 से अधिक है तो एल्बुमिन के लिए यूरिन की जांच करें और प्रोटीन पॉजिटिव आए तो चिकित्सा अधिकारी को रेफर करें ताकि मां और बच्चा दोनों स्वस्थ रहें।